Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be going over the fight announcements that Dana White has come out, his second batch. Hopefully this one is better than the whole Weili versus Yao Xiaonan fiasco where he kept us waiting for 2 hours saying that he has a huge announcement for UFC 300, a title fight, just to give us that. Yeah, I don't think I need to explain to you why that was a bad idea. Now, let's hope that this one's going to be better. I've already pre-watched it. It is already a tiny bit better, and if you haven't seen it already, here it is. I'll be stopping through it just to give my thoughts on everything that he says, and like, that's my brutally honest fan reaction.
Alright guys, I got some more fight announcements for you. Tai Tuivasa is taking on Tybura. Was originally planned for UFC 298. It will now headline the March 16th event at UFC Apex.
Okay. Tai Tuivasa versus Tybura. Not a terrible fight. I mean, like, you want Tai Tuivasa to get a win here. I understand Tybura is ranked. This is also heavyweight. The skill gap between being ranked at heavyweight and actually being in title contention is astronomical. Heavyweight is... If heavyweight wasn't heavyweight and it was just a random division, this would not be a really good division. It just wouldn't. Tai Tuivasa is a fan favorite that just can't catch a break after his loss to Volkov, who is solid, but again, isn't championship winning a belt level. And Tai Tuivasa, as much as I like Tai, he was never at that level of he was going to win a belt. We saw that in the Cyril Gane fight. That's what convinced me. But here's my other problem with this. So we can take fights off of UFC 298, and that's perfectly well done because, you know, that card's stacked. But we can't do that to UFC 299. I know why. I'm not stupid. UFC 299 is the UFC's way of giving the middle finger to Francis Ngannou. The fact is, although they're not on the same night, let's be real here. How many of you are going to buy Francis Ngannou versus Anthony Joshua and buy UFC 299? Like, not a lot of people. I try to only watch UFC events, only when we're getting an issue where the card is just straight dog shit, I'm not buying it. I mean, $75, that's a pretty steep price for a card. I don't think Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou was ever a competitor, but the UFC's about precedent. They want to make Francis Ngannou's transfer over to boxing seem as mediocre and as not as a win as it really is. I mean, bro's making $20 million as possible, and the easiest way to do that, oh, look how many pay-per-views Francis Ngannou sold in boxing. Guess he's not a pay-per-view star. No, you just put on the biggest numbered card I've seen in over a year on within the same week. I don't like that we're taking fights off of UFC 298, which I know some people are saying is a stacked card. I mean, like, it's okay. Like, I think we're just comparing it to UFC 299 and we're looking at UFC 300. But I have a third problem, but this just goes overall.
9 ranked Tuivasa has 14 wins, 13 by knockout. Number 10 ranked Tybura is a well-rounded vet with 9 knockouts and 6 submissions. Former strawweight champion Rose Namajunas will take on...
I think he said that at the beginning. It's going to be at the Apex. It's going to be the headliner of an Apex event. And I just don't like the Apex. Like, don't get me wrong, there's some fights where it is a little bit better, but for the most part, it's just not. It doesn't have, like, that same magic that these other events with an arena. And you can tell pretty easily what type of fight is going to be at the Apex and what type of fight isn't. Tai Tuivasa versus Tybura, don't get me wrong, Tuivasa can pull some people. Tybura can't. That's just facts. You're not selling out an arena with Tybura. You're just not. Unless we're stacking up with that main card, which I don't think we are, because I think we just blowed the budget on UFC 299, and hopefully we can do that for UFC 300. I think that's going to be a mediocre fight night, with Tuivasa being the highlight. And they can say, oh, well, the reason that we didn't really put this in an arena is because this is a fight that you have to put in the Apex. No, you don't. You just don't think... You're not confident in your ability to sell out that event. That's the truth.
Number 9 ranked Amanda Ribas, March 23rd at UFC Apex. You know...
Another Apex card. So Rose Namajunas versus Amanda Ribas. Not a terrible fight. As far as the women's fight goes, that one... I would say is probably a solid like 7.5 to 8 out of 10 card. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I really will. Did he say it was a headliner? I'll check it near the end of this video. I really hope he did not say a headliner. I hope that's like a co-main, maybe just on the main card of a fight night. But the fact that it's on an Apex tells me it might be the main event, if not the co-main. Again, it's just the Apex issue, dude. We instituted it during the 2020 plague era because, you know, for a good reason. You couldn't open an arena, you couldn't fill it up with seats. That's what the Apex was for. Apex should have gone away as soon as the world came back to normal. I have no clue why it's still around.
Rose is dangerous. She's a great striker. Knockout power. She's beat Weili Zhang, Jacek. Hebus is returning to flyweight after an impressive wheel kick knockout over Pinheiro. And this fight is going to be badass.
I'm starting to notice a pattern that he'll always say, this fight is going to be badass, pretty much only for women's fights. Just noticing a pattern. I think he realizes that, you know, people are not breaking down the door to watch a lot of these women's fights, but there are a few good ones. You could have made Alexa Grasso over Zhang Weili, but you're not going to risk your Mexican champion, and people would have paid for that fight. People aren't going to pay for these other fights, so you have to sell it as this is a badass fight.
It's good to have Rose back. Headlining Atlantic City on March 30th is Sean Brady versus Vicente Luque.
That's good. I like Sean Brady versus Vicente Luque. I know some people are going to say, snooze fest. Sean Brady had a snoozer performance against Calvin Gastelum. I get it. I understand why. I mean, like, not everybody appreciates grappling, but you can't deny Sean Brady's pretty talented. I know people are going to say, well, he got TKO'd by Bilal Muhammad. Oh, yeah, no, that's bad. I'm not arguing that's not bad. Sean Brady is talented, though. Like, don't be saying now just to cope, oh, Calvin Gastelum's washed up. No. Sean Brady completely nullified the grappling of Calvin Gastelum and honestly made him look like he's never wrestled a day before in his life. That is crazy good. Sean Brady is legitimately talented. Out-muscled Michael Chiesa, out-grappled Michael Chiesa. Just had a really bad performance against Bilal Muhammad. It is what it is. I mean, Gilbert Burns also lost to Bilal Muhammad. I know there was a shoulder thing, but a loss is a loss. Is Gilbert Burns a bum now? I would argue Gilbert Burns is more chinny now than Sean Brady is now in his career just because of the miles that are on Gilbert Burns. But we don't completely throw the baby out with the bathwater with Gilbert, so let's not do it with Sean Brady yet. If he gets TKO'd by Vicente Luque, okay, I'm with you guys. This is not terrible. I want to see who else is on this card. Like, Sean Brady versus Vicente Luque alone doesn't sell the card. What's interesting, though, why not just reschedule Vicente Luque versus Ian Gary? I want to know what happened. I know they offered Vicente Luque a backup opponent. Vicente Luque said no. I want to know what happened. I don't know who's getting punished here. Why are we putting Ian Gary against Jeff Neal? I thought Ian Gary versus Vicente Luque was a fun fight. That puts Ian Gary into title contention. I don't know what's going on there. Fun matchup. I don't know. This is a good test for Sean Brady. If he gets TKO'd, well, fraud checked. And if he's able to submit Vicente Luque, the hype train is back on. We'll see what happens then.
Number 7 ranked Sean Brady is 16-1, coming off a submission win and performance of the night over Calvin Gastelum. Number 9, Vicente Luque just beat the former lightweight champ, Rafael Dos Anjos. Luque has a combined 8 performance bonuses, and he has an 86% finish rate. Another fight for UFC 300, Figueiredo versus Garbrandt.
Okay. This is my problem with this announcement. Figueiredo versus Cody Garbrandt is by itself not a... It's a good fight. It's not a bad fight. This is my problem. The way that it was originally announced is how you should have announced Zhang Weili versus Yao Xiaonan. You just shit it out on your Instagram. Honestly. Yeah, no, I knew about this a full day before he said this. Not because, like, oh, I had some inside knowledge. No, this was posted. Like, this was the worst kept secret. Like, this was very well known. That is how you deliver a fight like this. Not say, hey, I got another fight for UFC 300. I'm over here thinking it's one of the title fights that you promised Dana White. No, it's not. It's Figueiredo versus Cody Garbrandt. I'm still waiting on those at least 2 title fights that you promised 2 days ago that you said that you were going to give us in one day. Like, that's why there was no video yesterday. That's what I was waiting for. That and the power went out. We're back. But, for real. I'm wondering where these title fights are. I know one of them is Leon Edwards versus Bilal Muhammad, but you don't want to bring up Bilal versus Leon without giving us at least an Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill. Alex Pereira is saying that he has a fight that is potentially in the works on his Instagram. Fight news is coming out soon, Chama. So, I want to know what's going on. But I understand why there's no news, because you can't just throw out Leon versus Bilal without oil up Dana White trending on Twitter.
Figueiredo is 22-3, and he's the former flyweight champion. He has an 87% finish rate and recently moved up a weight class, taking out the number 8 ranked Rob Font. He is facing former bantamweight champ Cody Garbrandt, who's coming off a huge knockout win and looking for a top 10 spot if he can beat Figueiredo. So there you have it. I'll see you guys soon.
Okay, two things. Cody Garbrandt is going to get viciously KO'd and shinned. Figueiredo is going to destroy Cody Garbrandt. I get it. Cody Garbrandt, if he wants to get into that title contention like he still wants to, you got to fight somebody like Figueiredo. Figueiredo has a win over Rob Font. Rob Font, not too long ago, was in title contention. Bada bing, bada boom. You got to make that fight. You got to win it. That being said, Cody Garbrandt is going to get so viciously KO'd, this whole win streak is going to be over. I know somebody's going to say, have faith in Cody Garbrandt. Listen, his fighting ability is good enough to beat Figueiredo. His chin is not. It's as simple as that. It happens to everybody when they fight too long. TJ Dillashaw became a juice head and is now just, I assume, joining professional powerlifting at this point in his career. Cody Garbrandt is chinny. That's just how the dice have been rolled. Second thing. You notice how he didn't, say, hey, I got those 2 title fights that I promised to announce? Nope. There's nothing. Bro said nothing. Now, to end this video on a slightly positive note, I guess, we're going to be talking about this weird rumor that Khabib Nurmagomedov is coming back. And this all starts from, Javier Mendez said something,
He's been training, but he's never trained with me. Only when he fights, he trains with me. That I can tell you. Right. Whether he fights or not, I don't know. But he's training with me, so you can take that for what it's worth. But I don't know. I know he's training with me. I know that. We have video. The bottom line is we're training, and he's he always trains though. But the key thing, he never trains with me. Right. That's the key thing. So, but that doesn't mean he's fighting. That just means. Okay, well,
basically what bro was saying, 3 times in a row is, hey, Khabib hasn't trained with me since he's fought. He's training with me now. Isn't that kind of crazy? I'm not confirming nor denying anything, but hey, isn't that kind of crazy? That's really what he's trying to say. I think this is pretty weak evidence. However, let's entertain it. Khabib Nurmagomedov is coming back. Who are we going to have him fight? I had a poll on my TikTok basically saying, hey, would you want him to fight Conor McGregor or anybody else? Because let's be real here. You ask all of the MMA fans, casuals included, how many of them are going to say they want to see a rematch between him and Conor McGregor? 90% of the casuals are going to say that. That's most of the fan base right there. It's us that are really going to have to think more into this. What are we going to do with Khabib? A lot of people have been saying Khabib could be coming back to headline UFC 300 against Leon Edwards. Chael Sonnen said that was an option. Now, I'm just going to say this. Guru has probably the best point on this. Why would Bilal Muhammad be training with the Dagestani crew if Khabib is planning on coming back to fight Leon? Understand that they're training him to fight Leon. Unless we're going to see the funniest, switch up in MMA, where Bilal Muhammad has made the universe so against him that they is going to resurrect Khabib's fighting career just to not give him a title shot. it's not going to happen. Now, if Khabib does come back, honestly, I don't think he goes back down to 155. I think that interferes with Islam Makhachev's career. I think 170 is even a maybe, because I know Islam wants to make a run for 170 in 2025. I don't know who you give him. Is it an interesting thing to be talking about? Yeah, but all I'm saying, do not let's curb our thoughts on this. I don't think Khabib's coming back. I think this is just a thing like, hey, maybe he just wants to get back in shape. He's been looking pretty fat lately. But that's going to be the video. Please consider a like, comment, subscribe. It really helps me in the algorithm. And with that out of the way, thank you for watching. Adios, guys.